And we are live. This is the 10A podcast, and I got my guys Jamel, Herring, and Christine ready to unpack this weekend with me. Was Turkey mad at Rolly Romero? Did he dump him? Did he leave him stranded in Saudi Arabia? Bill Haney, what drugs is he on this weekend? Devin Haney runs out of his own shoes. William Skull gets 8 million to run. We're gonna get into all of that. I mean, it's just too much to talk about. After this, oh my God, guys! I mean, Jamel, you were out there in Times Square. You know what I mean? Shout out to you. Shout out to my girl Chevy. Chevy got into the event. I don't know if you know that.
Good for her.
She got into the event. That's what a nice red dress and a pretty face gets you. I need to do that.
She ain't missed nothing though, but
I mean, yo,
It's like, I want to get in here so bad, and like,
that's what I was saying. But shout out to my boy T. I mean, honestly, I think T.O. probably the only one that actually tried to make it. Yeah, make it a show. Make it a show.
But let's get into Fatal Fury the weekend, and let's just start off with the. Let's start off with T.O. Let's start off with a positive note. T.O. versus Barbosa. I told Christine what was going to happen.
You did.
I said it was going to be.
Coach. I said it's going to come down to footwork. I said I like Arnold. I just always feel, and you know as a trainer, he's too heavy on the front foot. And a guy like Teofimo, you can't be heavy on the front foot. No. You gotta be elusive or just athletic. I mean, look at Jermaine Ortiz, who's light on his feet, and you know what I'm saying. Those are the type of styles that give Tio fits when he has to actually go get that guy. When somebody really, trying to come at him, Tio could fight off the back foot, and then he's real slick and elusive, and that's what I knew was gonna come down to it. I'm right. Arnold caught him with a good right hand, but you can only spot few of those type of shots. You know what I'm saying, against Teofimo in that fight.
Yeah, and I think Barbosa too. He was one of the guys that we'll get to that wasn't cutting the ring off, and also he was only throwing 1 and 2 shots. He wasn't throwing full competitions.
Right.
And Tio's very talented. I never doubted his talent, and I knew if the right Tio showed up, that was my only concern. Like,
right, of course, yeah.
Tio was showing up, so I'm glad he won. Really, I am.
I mean, I thought Tio was who Tio is. I think Tio is a super talent. I think a lot of the things that he's dealt with over the past couple of years has been because of his immaturity. He's young. I mean, Tio's like 26 years old. He had a lot of issues with his dad. How difficult to tell your dad fall back from it? It's very difficult to tell your parents that, right?
Sure, yeah.
But he has, though.
He has. No, that's what I'm saying.
He
has, and he's looked better because of it.
Right.
Kind of taking control his career in his own hands. And I thought Tio looked great. I mean,
he did. He looked great. He looked fabulous.
Yeah. He looked very good.
He did. Jesus disagrees. He said he saw Barbosa win.
Who the hell said that?
Jesus.
I don't know what he was smoking. He was smoking the same thing Bill Haney's been smoking this weekend. But,
right.
I mean, Tio looked good. He showed off. His footwork was amazing. He was in and out. Was landing a lot of good shots. Tio's not great. All right, whatever. I was impressed. I was really impressed by Tio. Some people were not for whatever reason.
I was. Right. Yeah.
I was. Let's talk about what people are talking about. What's next for Tio? A lot of people are saying Boots Ennis. And I'm kind of like, man, I mean, you picked like a bigger version of you in a sense. I think Boots is extremely athletic. He's big, got a chin. I don't think, in my opinion, Teofimo's power has translated from 135.
But you just said he was great and he looked great, and you knew what he was going to bring. So why not put 2 people to the test to test each other?
I think sometimes when it comes to boxers, I think your body has to grow with you. I don't think he's grown into his at 147 type power yet, and there's a lot to accomplish. You still got
he's 126. He's 26 years old. He's definitely.
Yeah, but there's still a lot to accomplish. You still got Richardson Hitchens. You got Matias. You got a lot of guys at 140. I think that you can.
I don't see the need for 47. Honestly.
I don't either.
Unless it's a big money fight, but again, also, you don't always have to grow. You don't always have to translate power into a new weight class. I mean, for instance, I mean he's one of a kind fighter and a special fighter, but Floyd Mayweather. When he went from 135 up to 47, it was different. But he made the proper adjustments within his arsenal and his game to handle the bigger guys. To handle the bigger guys at those higher weight classes. So you don't always have to translate the power. I mean, it'll be nice if you could, but if you're a talented fighter and a smart fighter, your skills will translate to wherever you go.
No,
at a reasonable weight.
Maybe I'm more concerned about the fact of him calling out Boots though. I think everybody else at 147, I think Tio can beat pretty much.
Well, the thing that I like about that is he's daring to be great because right now everybody's talking about Boots is the boogeyman.
Yeah.
Without a belt. Well, he has a belt. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. He does have a belt that he did receive in the mail, but
no, he won his second one. He won his second one.
You're right. I'm sorry. Correct me. Yes, thank you. But the thing is this: why not dare to be great? Why not? I like it. I mean, we complain about these matchups, and then when they're calling each other out, then we have something to say about it. Why not let them fight? Let's see what happens.
No,
I think it'd be great.
That is true.
I think that's a fight that needs to be built up too. I think it's early. I think even if you go to 147, I think there's guys like Conor Benn out there. I think there's guys like even Blair to Flair.
He doesn't want them.
I hear you, but I mean, you want that big check. You want that money that's gonna. I think you got to build up a Boots fight.
There's people that want the legacy.
For Tio?
Yeah, for Tio.
I think like I was always told the money is also within the fights. I mean, no one's going to pay for. No one like, come on, but we're not going to pay for. No respect, we're not going to pay for a Teofimo versus Blair to Flair. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? I get it in terms of if you're gonna make the proper adjustment, get into a separate. But in terms of, if you're mentioning money in big fights, the money is always within the big fight. So I mean that fight. It just it's not nothing against Blair, but like what has Blair, Blair hasn't done anything.
Wants to see that.
On that pedestal right now in terms of making it a big event for anyone to want to come see.
How about a Conor Benn who just sold 700,000 pay-per-views?
But you got to understand also that the UK and the American landscape are two different like
absolutely.
UK, they got two UK rivalries. Fighters and across the ring. They're always gonna back their own. Same as when you get two, big Mexican fighters. You know what I'm saying? Mexico's gonna come out with their own. So you can't even use that. And because everyone said it on when I asked, do we need a rematch of this? And everyone was like, no, not really, but we understand if it's in the UK, it's gonna generate the money.
Yeah.
That's all kind of done right now.
The UK fans, they do want it. The UK fans,
But to your point,
you want him and Conor Benn, and like you said, just came up for loss.
Yeah, no, I hear what you're saying, but I'm saying in terms of Tio's been trying to get profile fights. That's why he's going after Ennis. He went after. For Bud, he wants profile fights. Why not go to the UK and take Conor Benn? I would do it. I think that would be a look for him going over to the UK. Maybe not in the United States, but maybe out there. I don't know. I just feel like it's too early for him in Boots and too dangerous. I'm a big Boots guy, man, and I don't know.
Tio been in the game. Tio been in the game.
They said the same thing about.
It's time. If he wants Boots, let's make it happen. I would absolutely love that. I would absolutely love that matchup.
Do you give him a shot against Boots right now?
Yeah,
I give a shot against anybody.
Me too.
But again, I highlight. We know the danger and the risk. Yeah. But that's what makes boxing intriguing, and when people want to see,
so
we want to see. We want to be put in the position of the what ifs. The what ifs. So he could potentially lose this, or he could potentially win this. We want to see. We don't want to see fights where we think it's one sided, and we know who's going into
lopsided matchups.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, I mean, I'm
for it. Give him what he wants. Let's go.
I'm a little nervous. I'm a big Tio guy. Like I really like Teofimo.
So you think your man can't do it?
I think he's still. I think he needs a. I want to see him at least one fight at 147 before that, man. I think Boots is really that good. Like he's really.
I mean, like I said, I can get that. I get that. If you want to see him, take an adjustment, whatever tune up, whatever you may want to call it, that's different. But again, if he's calling for it and he says he wants it now, who's to say that? Who's to say tell him no? But like Christine said, then we complain when we see fighters not making an initiative or trying to call anyone out or even put his name in a hat for anything intriguing. I mean, like I said, I was impressed. When he won the fight, when he kept challenging Bud. Who's really challenging Bud though? Like if you look at it right now in the landscape right now, who's really saying, you know what, I want to fight Bud Crawford? Like
Nobody.
Who's saying that?
I respect that. And also I think him as a man and as a boxer, he wants to see where he's at. Because he believes in his skill set and he believes in everything that he provides in the ring. And he's like, yeah, I can beat Boots, that confidence. So he wants to see where he's at and he wants to show everybody else where he's at.
I mean, I have him in my pound for pound list. I've always had Teofimo. I think Teofimo is that damn good, to be honest with you. I have him above a lot of people that people might think I'm crazy for saying. I'm not even saying the name.
Pound, I look at it it's opinion, but again, when you dissect it and you can make a compelling reason to why each individual is on there. But like I said, I don't really care for the order. It always comes down to everyone really has difference in their top three at least. But wherever you may have other fighters on there, it's an opinion, but it's it's probably well earned within those fighters to a certain degree.
And we haven't heard Boots say anything. Have you heard Boots respond to that?
I did hear him say.
Honestly, I haven't heard much of Boots since his last fight. Like so I don't know if he's even to stay. We still don't know if he's going to stay at 147.
Yeah.
Or move 154. So,
somebody told me that his camp is saying that it's not locked in. I think he's going to stay at 147. I don't think he's going to 154 for a while.
I hope he stays at 147 because again, if you look at the landscape now, if you look at NOA, Bud, Canelo, it seems like we're in that phase where everybody's trying to shoot for undisputed. So I think if anything, Boots might decide to try to clean out 147 before he makes that jump because everyone it's a trend now. Everyone is trying to become undisputed within their respectable weight class.
No, absolutely. Let's move on to the second fight of the night.
Your favorite fight?
Oh God, I was chewing Jamel's ear off for about a half hour. How displeased I was for this fight, and I mean, I'm gonna let you guys start it off.
I just want to say, can I start it off the one? Because this is the one I was telling you, Christine, about that I was really the most interested in because I was trying to look for a lot of answers between the two, and honestly, I didn't feel like we got much of anything from that fight between the two, and I love them both. Like I said, Jose is my guy. We came up in the Amsterdam together. We was roommates, Olympic teammates. Devin, shout out. I got love for the Haneys over there. They always showed me love, but again, if I'm being truthful, like we just didn't get it. We didn't get much of anything, and I'm not even talking about the whole. I'm not gonna make the argument with the whole thing, the punch count and this and the third. It's just that I didn't get to see much of like what Devin had learned from his fight against Ronnie Garcia. If anything, I felt he was a bit hesitant and more cautious of the incoming rather than focus on his output. Jose, I was kind of shocked the way he carried the fight because again, this is a man that I came up from the amateurs who has a high skill level in boxing. So it was just like the little small things in terms of like I know. He wrote on his Instagram. He's upset about how he's being treated. But again, there's little things like cutting the ring off. Setting up and again, Christine, I always go to you because, like I said, you as a trainer, these are things you guys always teach us as fighters. Like the perfect shot isn't always going to come, so you got to set up your shots at times.
Yeah,
you got to set
no risks taken. There was not any risks from either one of them taken the whole fight.
It's like a sparring session. It was like a sparring session, honestly. And you think in the beginning, okay, everyone's trying to fill each other out. So I was like, I was giving fights about 3 rounds, but when I got to round 4 and 5, so me and Norbs just started talking on the side. Like we just, it just became a bit frustrating because again, I mean, Devin showed flashes of his skill and talent, and things of that nature. But I just wanted to see more
He showed flashes of his skill and talent when he was like 6 feet away from Ramirez. You know what I mean? It was like he wasn't anywhere in the vicinity. He looked very gun shy to me. He looked very gun shy.
Are you guys done?
I mean, no, you made a good point though. I'll let you finish it though with the who he reminds you of. And then I was like, you know what? That was a good point. I'm
sorry. I know Jamel is an athlete. A lot of these guys are friends. None of these guys are my friends, so I'm just gonna keep it real. Before the fight, me and Christine, and I gotta take my hat off to Christine, said we are very scared. We're very concerned about Devin's mental and the beating that he took against Ryan Garcia. Mm-hmm. And we're gonna find out how affected he is as soon as he steps in that ring. Mm-hmm. And as soon as he stepped in the ring, literally ran out of his shoes. His buckle got loose. The man did not come there to fight. The man was petrified. I was sitting there and I'm like, and we've all watched Devin fight. Has a great job. Controls the center of the ring. Never was someone that really ran. He just controlled the fight.
Yeah.
And literally ran. And again, I get the whole cutting the ring off, but some of these guys are phenomenal athletes. If you ask what's his name? I forgot his name. Ramirez, whatever his name, to race Devin Haney, he would smoke him, right? And that's what it became. It was a goddamn race. I felt like I was watching Dancing with the Stars, and Mario Lopez was going to jump out and crown the winner. I was sitting there disgusted at what I was seeing and concerned for him. Yeah. And it reminded me of, and tell me if I'm wrong, Christine, when Adrian Broner came back after his Maidana loss. He was gun shy. He did not let his hands go. Would just stay in the shell. The only difference is Devin said, you know what, forget the shell. I don't even want to get touched. I'm going to outrun this guy the entire fight.
Yeah.
It was crazy to me. And I'm watching it and I'm like, damn, I know I predicted this, but I didn't want to be right. I like Devin. I think Devin's
I was really hoping. I mean, there was a lot of concern about the mental part of it, and you could see it in his eyes and his face. He was very gun shy. He did not want to get hit, you know. And I wanted to see some adjustments, as Jamel said. I wanted to see the adjustments that he was working on and making, you know, after the Ryan fight. I was really hoping to see something, and then you know we had Mosley Sr. talking about we worked on power punches and power and turning his power.
I'll bring that part.
Throw the power.
I love Shane, but I was like, I mean, you can't really even put that on Shane because Shane wasn't in the ring. But like I said, I thought the whole I didn't see anything that basically helped in terms of when you bringing all these high profile names from their respected, you know, eras and backgrounds. So like that's what I felt like. At times for fighting, Christine, you notice as well, like that could be overwhelming in that corner. It could be a lot of chaos in the corner. And again, like when you do something like that, you gotta do it on a lesser stage. Basically, what I'm saying is like when you bring in somebody new and you're trying to form a chemistry, bring that in with somebody that's like a tune-up or even a tomato can. Like that was supposed to be a big event, and it's supposed to like basically usher in the new, basically that new era of stars, because it was supposed to be a bunch of the whole selling point was a bunch of stars on the card moving forward. And Ludabella said it best. I mean, Ludabella quickly said, "Listen, I don't want to hear any more nonsense of this era being, you know what I'm saying, the new four, you know what I'm saying."
So, can I touch on the Shane Mosley thing? Go
ahead.
Yes.
I am a huge Shane Mosley fan. Loved him at 130, 135. I thought he was one of the best fighters I've ever seen, right?
Is that before or after the PED allegations or
Stop it. All right.
35 before that.
That's before that, okay. But he was used as a pawn. He was used as a pawn in Bill Haney's. And I love Bill, but this was a sham. He did everything to make it look like, look, we fixed him. We even bring in Shane Mosley to help him with his power. Nobody ever cared about Devin's power. Nobody ever believed he had the power. We all thought he was a great fighter. You did everything to make people believe you changed him, except for him actually fighting. The only thing that changed, he got worse. If you were really going to make a change.
Can I tell you the first thing that should have been done? The very first thing that should have been done. You could bring in freaking some of the greats from the dead. You could have brought in King Kong. But there was one thing that I did not hear anybody do. And that was, did he go get help by a sports psychologist or
Absolutely.
just a psychologist in general? Because that was something that you just can't get over if you don't have help. And every time, like you get in a car accident, you see a car coming at you, you know, and you get hit. Every time you get in the car and touch the steering wheel and a car gets close to you, you're going to be gun shy.
Great point.
You have to work through those things. That should have been done first. And I hope that it was. If it was, I'm sorry. But I did not hear about it. That should be the first thing that should have been done.
Forget about even the beating that he took, but the beating he took from the public. He was, I mean, even in the interviews, he didn't even look comfortable in there. He looked very quiet. He was just very you can tell like he's been affected past boxing.
But what did he do too? What did he do during the Ryan Garcia fight? He and his father were making jokes and laughing at him. And I'm like, are you kidding me right now? You are in no position.
It is called deflection.
Yeah,
That's called deflection. And this is the most concerning part for me. Your father is your trainer, right? He's also supposed to be your dad. He's supposed to be honest with you. Christine, you're a trainer. If Chicken is not doing what she's doing and she's slacking, you have to call her out on this shit.
Yes, absolutely.
Period. This is what Bill Haney had to say. Dan Raphael and Tim Bradley, etc., said the fight was boring, but after 12 rounds with Devin Haney, Jose Ramirez ended up in the back of an ambulance while Devin sat ringside laughing and ready for the next challenge. First of all, we all know after the fight, you're supposed to be checked out by a doctor, right? If I'm not mistaken. Right. Secondly, I mean, dog, why are you creating a false narrative to the fans to make it look like, look, he put a beating on this guy? No, like
he probably twisted his ankle chasing him.
That was terrible.
I mean,
no, I was thinking with North there too, though. I mean, you got to think about where they were at. They was in the middle outside in Times Square. So for all we know, that could have been just a regular doctor medical checkup. For all we know, like that. I mean, now I start thinking about because again, they was outside. Like where were they going? Like the doctor tried to go see the doctor in the amp.
No, and I know that firsthand because my buddy, he works for the EMT and the fire department, the ambulance for the fire department. So they have to be on scene when events are outside to basically make sure everything's going on. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, Bill, why are you creating more heat for Devin? This was a piss poor performance.
Yeah.
This was embarrassing. And this was a situation, in my opinion, where the kid needs help. The kid was
worse for his son. It's so sad.
No, it was insane, and I'm a big Bill supporter, which is crazy to me. But your son, and I always question the whole year, why is he taking so long to get back in the ring? Why is he not taking a fight? Why? What is going on? And every time you come up, he got the phone by the ear. He's doing this, and I'm sitting there. I'm like, why isn't he in the ring? Why are we waiting so long? And now we know why. I mean, maybe he was. And then at one point, I don't know if you recall, Devin was talking about retirement after the fight. Like he didn't even want to do it anymore.
I think he still doesn't want to, but he doesn't want to let his father down, which is so sad. That's what
and the money. In the money, let's be honest. Let's be money. The money
great, but I think more so, even we want our father, our mother to be proud of us, and it's like you let your dad down. What else does he have? And it's like I think that has a lot to do with it too. I think they both go hand in hand.
So somebody said this is hilarious. Y'all really want to break Devin and give Ryan on PD's really been? What are we talking about? What are you talking about? We're gonna get to Ryan, right? And I'm not.
I definitely want to put that back up.
Yeah, I want to get to Ryan, right? But the difference with the Ryan situation and the Devin situation is completely different. We didn't get a new Ryan Garcia. That's who the hell Ryan Garcia is. He's been like that. Leaves his chin up, relies on the one shot, the left hook, Doesn't do much. And even in the fight with Devin, he was losing the fight. If he didn't count the knockdowns, he would have lost the fight.
Yeah, no, Devin was beating him that fight.
He was beating him.
Devin was definitely, like I said, it was the knockdowns. And like we spoke on the phone, even the knockdowns still made the scores close.
Yeah, it was still a close fight.
So yeah, and again, like Lil Ron just saying that we didn't get to the part, but like clearly there's a difference for whatever reason from what we seen on Saturday with Ryan, and even how he looked to how he looked a year ago.
Yes. Yeah. I don't blame. See, this is the thing. I definitely believe he popped dirty. He should have been punished and all of that.
Yeah, hell yeah.
He wasn't a different.
That'd have been anybody else. It's over.
He was punished. He was suspended. But the thing is this: y'all really want to break Devin? I personally feel sorry for Devin. I'm not trying to break him. You know, his father is not doing a good job protecting him because he's always speaking out. And I was concerned with his mental stability. I don't think anybody should get in the ring if they're not mentally right, because they can get seriously injured. Yeah. So break him, no. And you know, I'm not sure. It's just, you know.
No, and honestly, both of them.
What I'm doing or y'all are doing at all.
Ryan needs help, dude. I mean, this is a guy that canceled fights because of mental health. After the fight, what did he say? I wasn't mentally there. I was hearing everything going on. He wasn't even focused. Couldn't even focus on the big comeback that he was having. I mean, in terms of that, I think they both kind of weird. But Ryan didn't fight no different than he usually fights. He doesn't.
Can we talk about maybe, and this I'm reaching maybe, because for some of these guys, they weren't there. Can we talk about the venue? I mean, this was supposed to be like, oh my gosh, the middle of Times Square. They're not used to things like that. Where were the fans? You know, there was nothing but media people and like high society people and whatever. You know, do you think that this had any effect on any of the guys?
You want to start off?
I'm gonna start off as a fighter.
Absolutely.
That's a good question, because
that is a very good question.
That's a good point too, because you may feel like, for one, I'm gonna be real. I'm from New York, so if I'm fighting in New York, I want as much as my people to be there for that, you know, that support and that, because the atmosphere does play into big with certain fighters. Well, a lot of us does play into a thing, but yeah, it seemed like it was more a members only type of thing. You know what I mean? So I can get that aspect of it too, and then. Let's be honest. When we first heard about it, we thought like we're supposed to be free to the public.
Yeah,
everybody. Even though I don't know how. I think they did it the way it did, because again, let's be honest. This is a big city, and you probably have to have security measures. So you gotta, but you don't know. You can't say free to the public, and you don't have the right security or protocol there. But again,
and they should have said it.
Yeah. They shouldn't have put that out there like it was free. It was free to all, because, like I said, I thought in my mind that everybody just popped up to Times Square to see a fight in the middle of the city and go from there. But it was definitely something different. But I for the most part, I felt like not being around to have your people there, especially TFP also being a New Yorker, not having your crowd or your people. You know what I'm saying? It just wasn't the same thing. It was more like a private party. And it is what it is.
Yeah, that was another concern. And also, I had heard rumors. This is alleged. I don't know if it's fact, but there were a bunch of free tickets given out to local boxing gyms. But it was for around the corner where they could see the fight on big screens without any volume. So that whenever the cameras panned around, it looked like the streets were filled. Now, somebody tell me that was there, if that's true, that happened to get a ticket, because I'm not sure. I'm just hearing that from different sources that I have. So it's alleged, but I think that had a lot to do with it.
I'll say this, and again, I've never been a professional, none of that, right? I get what you're saying, but it's not like it was something new. We just literally got over COVID a few years ago, where these guys were fighting with nobody in the arena. So I get what you're saying, but it's not like they haven't done it.
Even we had a lot of your favorite fighters who didn't even want to fight during COVID because they didn't have that crowd, and
there was definitely issues back then.
Yeah, there was definitely like honestly, I was supposed to be the first before I got sick. I was supposed to be the first world champion at around that time to compete during the whole COVID thing, because Top Rank was having issues, but a lot of their guys not wanting to compete in the bubble.
That's
true.
True.
Exactly. Yeah, there was definitely issues then too. That was one of the first things that I thought about. I was like, yeah, it sounds really good to non-boxing people, but for boxing people that really know that y'all do feed off the crowd and the energy, it's like you want to feel it. You know, you
Yeah, when
sweat.
I was fighting Frampton, I vouched to fight him over there in Ireland because I wanted that crowd. I wanted that crowd environment. I always said I respected, Errol when he went overseas to fight Kell Brook, and I wanted to have that. I wanted to share that same type of experience, even if I was going into enemy territory. But again, we like whether it's good or bad, we feed off of that, and I wanted that. So I kind of felt like I was robbed a bit when I had to fight even Frampton in the bubble. So I mean, again, it was there was people there. There were people there and everything, but it wasn't my people or his. Yeah, it was no raw in there.
I mean, I get that, but my thing from the inception of the announcement of the event, I think I was on with Christina, and I made fun of it. I was like, "This is New York City. There's gonna be people selling weed on the corner, nutcrackers. It's gonna be crazy if it's free."
Outside.
Yeah, like there's no way that they're gonna be able to pull this off. I don't know why they even misled people. To be honest with you, Times Square, New York.
They were better. I think they would have did a lot better if they would have had it in one of the venues, whether it's the Barclays or the Garden or something. You know, they would have it would have been a lot better turnout. You know what I mean? Because again, fighters feed off that crowd reaction and that atmosphere, and it's like, and again, I feel like the damn the ring walks, whatever you want to call it, that was ridiculous. That was a waste of time and energy. It was really like watching an Uber. It was like watching a Uber, you know what I'm saying, drive from point A to point B.
It really was.
I will say this.
It wasted too much time.
I will say this. I like the on-site fights as long as the venue, because I do like the Alcatraz thing. I think the Alcatraz thing is kind of interesting. In a jail selling tickets, I would go to that. Times Square.
Who else is going to that?
That's what I'm saying. Who's allowed to go?
Yeah,
I mean, that's the point. If we can have let's say a ferry that takes the people that buys tickets to the fight, I would.
It's like what we doing. We're making these events for these in these crazy places. But who's coming? Well, who's coming to like say
reinvent the wheel? And the thing is, you think that these guys that fought couldn't have sold out an arena? Are you kidding me? Man,
no, that's the point. I think this was a double-edged sword in this situation. One, I think because they weren't selling tickets, I think Turkey might have been on some I kind of want to cut the cost on these guys. If I tell them there's no stadium, then there's no ticket sales, maybe I could cut the price on it because he was overpaying.
Oh no, I'm sorry. I know Times Square cost him. I know,
and that's what I'm saying.
Right, they had the phone. You know, bro. Come on,
that's what I'm saying.
You gotta pay the city to cut off blocks, and you gotta pay for that.
Yeah, but not as much as paying the Garden or paying the Barclays. But I think it was.
There's no excuse because you just said it. Like you cannot tell me that these individuals wouldn't be able to sell that out. You probably could have before we got the results of how the fights looked out. I'm pretty sure you could have named your price on tickets and people would have came. Yeah, they would have came.
So you think it was just
he would have got his money back, whatever he was tomorrow paying licensing and all that. He would have got his. Come on, man. You have Ryan, T.O., Devin, all these guys on the same card. They was gonna definitely bring their own crowd, and it's probably gonna even bring maybe more celebrities out as well.
Okay, so let me ask, speaking of getting his money back, right? And before he
lost money.
Did he lose way more money because of this?
Absolutely.
Devin Haney.
That was the whole build. Listen, and I'm glad. Listen, and those guys pointed it out. Like Jose, I remember they had the whole little interview. They was all sitting in the chairs, whatever. Jose pointed it out how they was overlooking and looking for the rematch, and he's like, "Listen, I didn't even fight Devin yet. And you guys are talking about Devin and Ryan. Even they even asked Rolly, hey, how do you feel about it?" And Rolly was like, "Listen, after I beat this guy, they can do whatever they want." And the point is, they was already overlooking their opponents.
Yes, we talked about that. Never overlook your opponent.
Yeah, we did.
They both did it.
You heard every smart boxer history always said, "Listen, I'm not looking at that guy. I'm focusing on the man in front." Even if he was overlooking, you don't put it out there because again, you're gonna light a fire in your opponent's, in your opponent's ass, whatever. And he's gonna try to ruin the plans for everything. Yeah. I've been in a situation where Remember, they was before I fought Ito, they were talking about unification between Ito and Burchell. And I felt respected that whole entire week. We seen how one side of that fight looked. So again, that you know what I'm saying, that gave me the fuel that I needed to ruin everything for everybody. I didn't care, but you don't overlook anybody in this game.
Nope.
How upset do you think Turkey Al-Asik is? Because
It was like
Romero,
he's like this in the ringside, pissed the fuck off.
He was, but how about this? Check this out.
Up my gloves, they didn't give me no damn per diem, nothing. I ain't care. I kept it cool. They didn't want to fucking put no damn money in escrow, nothing. And look at this shit. They all had a fucking plan, and look at this shit. I destroyed everything they fucking had.
Did Rolly ruin the plans? He didn't even have a flight, nothing coming back.
This happens. But Norbs, this happens more than you know. This happens where they do that to B-side. I mean, I'm sure Jamel.
It's crazy that he was a B-side. It's crazy that he's even considered a B-side, but it wasn't even playing for sure.
It wasn't even, but I'm just saying that's what they do to B. This was even, but that's what they do to B-side in a normal. You know, this happens all the time. It really does.
I mean, Christine, you got a great point, because if we're all being honest and we're all guilty of it, we weren't really looking at the main event as Ryan versus Rolly. We were just looking at Ryan is headline. Everybody kept pointing out Ryan is headlining, Ryan's headlining, Ryan's, you know what I'm saying? We wasn't even looking at is Ryan versus, even though these guys had a rivalry for years, no one was really looking at the main event as your normal main event. We was looking at, most of us were looking at this card as basically a showcase. Honestly, a showcase. To be honest, we were looking at it as a showcase to see, okay, the guys that are supposed to win, what do we get out of them moving to the next fight? Do we get the rematch between Ryan and Devin? What does Tio do from here? Does it go to 47 or to fight these guys? So we wasn't, honestly, I can understand how Rose frustration, because we wasn't really looking at it as Ryan versus Rose. We just looking at a guy, this Ryan headlining with a bunch of other big names on the card.
And I love how he used that. I love how he used that to his advantage. And speaking of him, oh my gosh, the adjustments that he made. I mean, he's been working at Solace. They've been doing their homework. They were doing their homework. He looked fucking amazing. But it's true, because even we were going to look at Haney, we were going to look at Ryan, we were going to see how they beat Ramirez and Rolly, right?
Absolutely.
And we were going to see, okay, now, we're seeing what they're bringing to the table. So this rematch, what is it going to be like?
Listen, first and foremost, we need to congratulate the media goat, Rolly Romero. Nobody has congratulated Rolly Romero for the performance yet. No, absolutely. I'm talking about everybody else. Everybody's talking how Ryan blew it, how Devin got his tap shoes on, but nobody's talking about how Rolly ruined the party. He ruined everything.
Sure did.
And I'm not gonna lie, I was happy. I'm a huge Rolly fan. I think Rolly is great for the sport. And I loved how he even answered afterwards. He was like, yo, I don't want the cameras in my face. I just want to go hang out with my family. Nobody believed in me. Everybody thought I was losing. I was just there to set up Ryan versus.
He's like, don't come over here now.
Yeah.
I mean, he pointed out, I was there to be set up for Ryan versus Devin and whatever. You know what I mean? No one, think about it. If you look at all the interviews he did anybody ask Rollies, what is he doing next if he wins?
No, this is a retirement party. This was a retirement party for Rolly. If Rolly loses this fight,
no one asks. Same with Jose. No one says, "What do you want next? Who do you want next?" No one asks these guys none of these questions.
No, absolutely. This was all settled for October, and
Barboza, none of them.
No, listen, I love that Rolly won a big fight like this, and now.
I felt like, and honestly, I'm gonna say this too, because again, I felt like the way they built the card kind of took away what they could have done. Because, like, again, people forget Ryan and Rollies actually used to have bad blood, and you know what I'm saying. One was messing with one. They had sparring.
Oh, really?
They could have used that as a big. They kept overlooking Rollies, and they didn't take the advantage in terms of promoting. Like, the promotion part didn't come in from the, you know what I'm saying, to build the speculation or the hype or the build up within that just that fight alone. That fight alone had a lot of history behind it. They never used it. They never used it. They just used it as okay, it's Rollies and Ryan. Yeah, and yeah, they go back to the sparring, but there's been a lot in those 7 years between those two guys and on a personal level that they didn't even they never touched upon. They just looked at it, they kept more focusing on what Devin's gonna do with Jose and what Ryan's gonna do with Rollies and move from there.
You know what's funny? The entire promo, right? I, as a fan of Rolly, right, was looking for all of his his clips, and they was very limited. But each clip that they played of him was the most entertaining thing of the weekend. And you're right; it's unfortunate that Rolly was used as a showcase and
as a prop.
Now, what happens to Rolly? Where does he go now? I mean, let's talk about Rolly. Where do we see Rolly going right now?
If he sticks to Salas and everything that he's doing, then he can pretty much. I think he's going to be able to beat some of these top guys, because the hardest thing to do is to teach a boxer something new and for them to stick to it the whole fight. Because usually they go back to their old habits. He did not go back to his old habits. Everything that he was being taught and practicing, I'm sure over and over again for that muscle memory, he kept it.
Honestly, he looked a lot. He looked a lot strong and full. Yeah, at 40, around 47.
He looked.
And honestly, in my opinion, people, it might sound crazy, but it's just the now. Right now, I feel like 140 is a lot dangerous than 147.
I agree.
Only one up there really is the real threat, of course, is Boots, but they're like, like someone said, it's crazy when you look at even how you want to look at the belts. They saying that Rolly's a 3-time, world champion. So basically, I'm saying is this: with the proper matchmaking, and saying Rolly can still make some big fights at 147 and even ruin some more parties up there if you put him in with the right guys. You know what I'm saying? Because again, styles make fights, and and like Christine said, it's amazing, even with a new trainer, a new team, that he was still able to learn new things. Not only learn them, but stick with the game plan throughout the fight. When he made it look, what I'm saying, it's not like you pointed out, Norbert. It's not a thing where Ryan had an off night. You said it yourself. Ryan looks like this all the time. Because if you say Ryan looked like crap, Ryan was this, you take credit away from the
right.
And again, I felt like no, Rolly just had the better game plan, was a sharper fighter, and Ryan just couldn't make the proper adjustments because Ryan was doing Ryan Garcia things. He was doing Ryan Garcia things.
Yes, he was.
Yeah. I mean, and I think you're right, and I think that's one of the reasons I said what I said about Ryan. No, that's exactly what Ryan is. He's to me, he has a superstar left hook with average boxing skill at this point. He doesn't listen to his trainer, and that's another thing. I didn't understand him going back to Derrick James.
He had to.
It was no man's land.
He had
honestly, he didn't have to. Let's be honest.
He could have gone to someone else.
He could have went to Canelo's team though, because like I said,
he was, and then they told him that they couldn't train it because they were getting ready for the Canelo fight.
Yep. But they still train Munguia, which is kind of weird.
Did he say that? Did he say that, or did they say that though? Did he say they say that? Or?
That's what Ryan said.
Because this is my personal thing, and you, Christine, you know what I'm coming from with this. Again, Bud can have a fight. I can have a fight.
Right.
But we just still, because it's not just Eddie just the only trainer over there either.
No,
you know what I'm saying? Like I never had an issue. I mean, me, Bud, Steven, we could all have fights at the same time on different dates. Sure. But I never had an issue where I couldn't train with Bo American Red and Saul because of that, because the guy Bud was having a fight around that same time week before. No, like if anything, we would make the proper adjustments. Even some guys are willing to stay back. Oh, okay, I'm not gonna go to this fight because I gotta stay back with Mel and Steven.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think
maybe they didn't want to have anything to do with Ryan.
I think no. So what I'm saying, I think it was more of that superstar mentality where he wanted just all the attention
On him, yeah.
on him. So that's what I'm going at with this. So I don't know if it was that thing he didn't want to share a camp with Canelo. Because why wouldn't you want to share a camp with Canelo? Like, yo, I'm going to get all this. Like when Bud had camps, I was like, hell yeah, well, I'm going to camp. I'm going to get to train alongside with Bud, and I get to see where my levels at because I'm working just as hard as he is. Now I'm trying to work harder.
And to your point, Reynoso was in Munguia's corner.
Yeah.
I mean,
so yeah, that's what I'm saying. So come on, you can't think even Manny Robles. I've seen Manny Robles do it when he and Manny had he may have a fight in Mexico, but he may keep someone back here for today. In today's era, it's not just that I'm sorry, it's not just that era where it's just that single trainer and then
Right. Yeah.
No, a lot of these fighters, a lot of these trainers have so many fighters that they bring in more help. Even Robert Garcia, his son helps him when he can't.
Yeah.
So there's no like again. I think it's one of those things where Ryan just wanted to be the star, the main attraction for the build up and in that camp. So that's why I like I say it was. I can't because we've seen matter of fact with he been in camp with Canelo when he had multiple world champions within the camp, but they're all trying to get the thing. Oscar Valdez in this one, I think it was just one of the things where Ryan Garcia just didn't. He wasn't getting the attention that he wanted.
That's a great point because again, Munguia ended up with Reynoso in his corner.
Yeah.
So and right after that was 2 fights after that was Canelo. So yeah, that definitely didn't make any sense.
Yeah, like I said, I seen Bomek travel to the UK with you've Chris Eubank, go through his situation with the problems afterwards, but still the camp. B&B still kept doing B&B things. So Bomek, came back, but it was no excuse. Like, come on.
That's true.
Let's move forward. Saturday was
nothing against my man Derek James either. Just want to put that nothing against Derek. I love Derek. It's just that like fighters, certain camps, there's chemistry. Like I remember,
you gotta have that chemistry.
I know we're gonna move on there, but I never forget. At one point in time, Freddie Roach he wanted to train me, but because he worked with Southpaws, Pacquiao, but I just felt that my style wouldn't never fit with a Freddie Roach and a Manny Pacquiao style, so I had to go. I found elsewhere.
Absolutely.
Not that Freddie's a bad trainer, just that the styles that we just
wasn't for you.
Absolutely. I just did find that weird. Now, moving forward, we had the I don't want to say. I guess it was the main event of the weekend, which was Canelo versus William Usain Bolt Skull versus Canelo Alvarez. I mean, what do you guys think about it? I know Christine was happy. I got my Canelo shirt on.
It lacked luster. And
Nah, I got a lot to say about that one too.
As talented as Canelo is, he still has not mastered, and people are going to argue with me, and I don't care.
We know you're
cutting the ring off, but it lacked luster. Skull came to get his paycheck and enjoy it because I'm not sure that we're going to want to see him against anyone again.
Yeah. What do you think, Jamal? Please.
I just want to say this. Shout out to my brother Bud Crawford, but I need to see that same energy that y'all all gave him for his last fight with this fight with Canelo. And there's again, even with Bud fight, and I'm not like I said, I love Canelo. Canelo's one of my favorite fighters. Let's put that out there. But again, it happens. You have these nights. But again, y'all people love to heavily criticize one part, but y'all try to sweep the others, their performance under the rug and just say, oh, it was a bad night. At least for Bud, like those two, they were fighting. You know what I mean? Like, Bud got a little shiner. He left his imprint on my man as well. But they're saying like when it came down to those championship rounds, Bud turned up. They had to fight. They had like he fought. You know what I mean? And Canelo's case, I get it. It takes two to tangle, but like we all spoke about this is somebody that you chose, or you chose his opponent. You know what I mean? You chose his dance partner. Like you're. I mean, at the end of the day, you're Canelo Alvarez. You pretty much, like I said it all the time. I can't knock Canelo if we did knock Floyd. Well, people did knock Floyd, but at one point in time, Floyd fought wherever he wanted to fight. Canelo's in that position in boxing where he could fight wherever he wants to fight as well today. But again, this is who Canelo picked, and this, and it wasn't his great. And I'm glad he was at least being a man about it and saying, "Listen, it was an ugly fight.
Yeah,
it wasn't his best performance." He opened, saying he was at least straight up about it. He didn't make any excuses. But again, all I'm saying is, if y'all keep going into the fight, people kept saying, "Well, Terrence looked like this in his last fight, so I don't know if he really needs to be focusing on Canelo." But then Canelo, so again. If you're gonna say everybody had a bad fight, it's pretty to go ahead and make it an even fight.
I don't think Bud had a bad fight though. I don't think Bud had. To your point, I feel like forget. Let's not be. No,
like you said, you don't think he did, but people was using that saying that Bud didn't look his best against a guy at this weight. Was to say he's not like.
Well, Jamel, to your point, he came off of Errol Spence, and then he went to 154, right? And had problems against Imaginal, who had 10 wins at the point.
It came up a long layup too.
No, to your point, absolutely. But that was Spence, right? You can't expect him to just come to 154 and do exactly that. Imaginal was a tough fighter, right?
The thing is, he came up a long layoff.
Yes,
not a good because, like I said, in boxing, you can't. Especially as you're getting older, that's one thing I didn't like for Bud because we're all getting older. I don't like the layoffs in between, but I get it. He couldn't do anything because he had to wait to see if he's going to do the rematch with Errol, and so he was contractually tied with that match. So that we got to take this into consideration. But again, he had a long layup, and he didn't come back with a tune-up. He went into another tough fight. It was because a lot of you guys didn't know who Magic Office, whatever. It wasn't safe to say that he wasn't no slouch. He wasn't no bum. So I look at everything that goes into a fight. I get it. Yes, he came up one of his biggest victories in his career against Errol, but it was like over a year later before he got back in the ring. So the momentum basically died down. He had to basically get back in it and recharge again, and he had to go against him with a younger, hungrier dude who knew came over whose victory, who wanted to make a name for himself. Yeah. But he had to fight.
Talking about how fans are. They just came up from dominating Spence, so the expected level is there. Now I'm with you with the space. That's why all this time they're taking to them fight Canelo, I think it's dangerous. And another thing is people comparing Skull to Crawford. It's going to be a completely different fight. Crawford's not going to run. He's going to put himself in danger. And I think that's why people will kind of question him fighting Canelo, in my opinion.
Another non-popular opinion that I have, and I'm going to get pummeled and I don't care, is watch the Berlanga fight again and Canelo, and watch this fight again against Skull, and you tell me Bud is not beating Canelo. Okay, no, that's all I'm going to say.
No, he's not.
That's all I'm going to say.
He's not. First of all, Bud.
No, he's not. No,
he's not. I'm just being honest. First of all, Bud's not going to run like that. And if he does,
it's not about the running. It's not even about the running.
He's not going to sit in the pocket with Canelo and take the same punches.
He's not going to sit in the pocket either. He's not. I can tell you. Yeah, I can tell you. Right. I'm not. I can tell you, but I'm not going to tell you. I know. I already listen. I already know Bomac, and I know how Bomac and them guys operate. I know what they're looking at. I know how he thinks. You know what I'm saying? What he's looking at. What he was looking at in that fight. And, he's not gonna run. He's not gonna do all that running. He's not gonna do that running.
That's what's gonna get.
Listen, with the being small. Keep one thing I learned from them. Keep doing something. Take small steps inside. You don't gotta run. You can just take a little half step at a time. Will still throw a punch off.
Absolutely.
Change rhythm. They're gonna change rhythms. Upper body movement. It's not gonna be a lot. It's not gonna be sprinting, but it's not gonna be a Bud just standing in the pocket.
No.
It kills me when I hear people speak like this. When his biggest victory has been Errol Spence. Had trouble versus Madronov at 154. Canelo is a better puncher than Madronov. He does cut off the ring a lot better. And I don't believe Bud is going to. He's not. What people think he's going to do is not what he usually does. I don't think he's going to go in there and completely change the style to beat Canelo. The way he fights now,
he doesn't want to.
It's dangerous for him against Canelo. It really is.
It's
really
dangerous
is.
for both of them. That's why we love this match.
No, he's not going to hurt Canelo. He's not going to hurt Canelo.
All right.
Canelo will hurt Bud Crawford, and we've seen him with noodle legs before. We have. At 130.
Casey Kidd said, and this is true, Madrimov is much quicker than Canelo. Absolutely, 100%.
And Canelo hits like a tank compared to him.
And if you think that Bud is going to stand in front of him like most of Canelo's opponents, you're crazy.
Hey, listen. Go ahead and
let me
go
get
ahead.
into
No,
it.
y'all keep talking about Arrow like it's like. Go ahead and watch the Victor Postal fight. The man, if he want to move, he can move. If he like I say, Postal was, you know what I'm saying, he made Postal come out to him, and Postal couldn't care. If Bud want to move, he can move.
Yes.
Well, he's not.
Go look at the Benavidez fight. Go look at the Benavidez. You know what I'm saying? He if he want to close the gap and close the gap, he can close the gap and touch you if he want to touch you.
His skill set is so broad.
Go ahead and watch the Sean Porter fight. All right, why are we looking at
We're naming guys that
Go
are
look at the
nowhere
Sean Porter
near
fight.
the level of competition Canelo's fought.
Go look at the Sean Porter fight.
Nowhere near.
Sean, another one. People overlook that fight. Sean gave my man Errol everything he can handle.
Yes.
If it wasn't for the knockdown, that fight could have went. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Go look at these fights. I mean, there's so many different. Like Bud has been there with so many different styles. He doesn't.
So is Canelo.
And that's
Like,
what
he doesn't have a one.
research.
He doesn't have a one style like a one like you know how they always said like, oh, Floyd only like to fight Mexican fighters because they were supposed to slower on their feet. Go look at Bud. Like I don't care what y'all say about the name, but the styles alone. He just fought so many different styles, and he's made the proper adjustments because he has the right team in his corner to do so.
I think Canelo will be more than prepared for this fight, and I believe.
I think so too.
I believe Terence Crawford is going to land on Turkey's lap.
No doubt.
I think he's going to land on Turkey's lap, and Turkey's going to be caressing his braids. It's all right. It's okay. You can
I go back 2014. You go look at the Beltran fight. Like I said again, it's the start. You gotta look at Beltran for one. When you watch that, he wasn't getting stopped. He wasn't going out for no one. But Bud had to box him all 12 rounds. Like, come on.
Jay, this makes no sense. Bud was losing to Jose Benavidez until he stopped him. Yeah, he stopped him. He did what he had to do. That does not help the argument at all.
And I cannot take this man serious.
They say he was losing to Sean before he stopped him too. They say he was losing to Sean.
I have to read this comment because I can't take this man serious.
Yes, Cano.
Cano says he's stopping Canelo, which there's no way that happening. Secondly, you also said that Devin Haney put a masterclass. You're on timeout till September. I can't even put you back on the screen. I don't want to hear that shit. But let's get to the running thing. I really wanted to touch on that. We're never going to agree who's winning this fight. But I was talking to Jamel the other day, and I thought this was a really good conversation. And I was saying that boxing used to be the biggest sport in America, right? And we're talking about like the 60s, 70s, 80s, right? Because guys, Muhammad Ali was great on his feet, but he fought. He created damage. A lot of these guys are running and should be playing in the NFL, right? So the NFL instituted the competition committee. Same way NBA is done, and what they do is every year they revisit the rules to how to make the sport more exciting and more safer, right? Boxing has been operating under the same rules for like 100 years, and it's boring, and that's why people are turning away. The facts are the facts, Christine. Where would you put boxing in major sports right now?
I mean, I don't watch any other sports but boxing, so
You don't, but we're talking about the masses.
all I have is my
Boxing doesn't even have a network to go on.
all I have is my own opinion and thoughts.
That's fine, but the facts are the facts. They're not on CBS. They're not on ESPN. They're on none of the major networks, which what happens is they don't get money. But my point was this. The committee is there to basically make the sport more exciting. So, for instance, the NFL, right? They weren't scoring enough points. So they started making adjustments so there's more offensive fights. Now, the reason I bring that up is because in boxing, they have to start instilling rules to make it more active. When people, what is people's biggest complaint? This guy's not fighting. He's running. It's boring. And these guys continue to do that with no type of penalty in a fight. And I believe there has to be something instilled within these fights to force these guys to somewhat engage.
We're evolving. We're evolving. So myself as a coach and Jamel, I'm sure he helps the guys in the gym, and he's got fights that possibly are coming up in the future. So we have to evolve. So we may get a runner. So how are we going to neutralize a runner? And we have to change the way that we train and the way that we think. We're evolving. I mean, look at the fighters from back in the day. Today, it's a lot more technical. Yes. Back then it was just like literally like pounding each other's brains out with little to no skill set when it first started. And we have evolved. Mm-hmm. So if this is something that we're seeing, what do we have to do as coaches? We have to train our kids, our guys, our adults, our women, to neutralize a runner.
I hear what you're saying, Christine.
I'm gonna say this though, Tony, with that, Norris, because you touched on like the sport of boxing as a whole in terms of how it's viewed and why it's not on this because I feel like on the flip side, promoters aren't building superstars anymore. They're not putting these guys out there to the masses. You only hear about, for the longest, we only hear about certain fighters when they have a fight coming up. Back in the day, like you mentioned, the Ali's of the world, Ali was in the face of, he was everywhere around,
He was also on network TV?
Everywhere. And back then, the heavyweight title was the biggest crown in the world of any sport. The heavyweight champion was always the premier highlight of everything in terms of a sporting event. But we don't, again, everything has evolved. Other sports have evolved in terms of how they present their, whatever they're bringing to the table and putting it out there. Again, you'll even see the NFL, they'll have events overseas. Things of that nature, but it's the way they package it and put it out there to the masses.
Absolutely.
Even in the off season, you get people wanting to see the NFL back, or the NFL doing something.
The draft.
It's always something. So again, it's not so much again with the fighters. Again, like we live in a different era. We have social media to actually help us, because even if you look at it, Ryan Garcia came to Golden Boy and he was pretty much just a prospect. Ryan Garcia promoted himself to be what Ryan Garcia is at today. But now, but a lot of guys, a lot of fighters, they don't have that charisma of a Ryan Garcia. So that's when the promoter needs to come in and started helping putting these fighters on different platforms, shows, events, whatever, to keep their face out there. But they don't do that anymore.
Yeah, that's true. I just want to say, T-Man Toss, I am crazy.
To Christine's point, they're better athletes today and stuff like that, right? You have to adjust, whether it's the NFL, any other sport. There has to be a balance. There has to be, because you're going to continue to make the sport more. For hardcore fans like Christine and like myself, we're going to watch. But to expand, right? And look at even UFC. When they came in with a different game plan, trying to make a shorter fight. This era, like I had a deal on the table with Snapchat, right? And they sent me the deal, and in the deal, they laid out exactly the amount of time they want this stuff and why and the reasoning. And it was because people's short attention spans. Nobody wants somebody running for 12 rounds with no action. At least with the UFC, you get some action, but it is what it is. But I think there has to be some type of a committee to form some of these rules to make it more exciting. Or we're gonna get the same shit we get now.
The thing is this: there's so many other things that boxing needs as far as committee goes.
Like what?
We need to make sure that we're taking care of our boxers.
Absolutely.
That they have something in the savings account for when they retire. Are we taking care of them after? The mental health, the physical health. If somebody passes in the ring, do we have a fund for their spouse and their family? So those are the things that to me are more important than forming a committee so nobody runs around the ring. So my job as a trainer is I have to train my guys, girls, like I said, to neutralize a runner. How are we going to do that? How are we going to do that? And we'll start working on it.
How do you pay for these things without money? How do you pay for them without the networks?
Well, whenever the only way you do it, then that will be a discussion. Right now, things are looking pretty good.
It's one person. Turkey Odyssey. If Turkey Odyssey says tomorrow, hey, by the way, I'm out of here. What happens?
It does.
There has to be.
God decides to end the world tomorrow. It doesn't matter.
Hold on.
So all these what ifs.
The NFL, baseball, they all have revenue sharing. They're all brought to by all these sponsors. They have to make these things exciting because people want to tune in. If you don't make it exciting, then there's just going to be nobody tuning in and bringing money. So you have to make it more exciting. If you want the fighters, you are. but there's not a lot of other people like that.
But until it's dead, it's still alive.
And it's literally probably the least rated sport in America.
We always got this in the past 20 years. We all go this with boxing, though, man. Like 1 minute it's dying, next minute boxing
I
is
don't think it's dying, but it's not
No,
progressive.
we heard that though. We say 1 minute they say boxing is the same, the next minute boxing is back. For the most part, we just need the fights that fans actually give a fuck about. Simple as that. Like no one. That's all it is, man.
Like Teal wants boots.
Jamel, to your point, right? That's why I like what Dana White's doing and having guys fight more frequently, getting people to know these individuals. You need to be on the networks, and you need these networks to shell out this money in order for these guys to get opportunities. But if it's not more exciting, the networks are not going to want to pay for that. You have to adjust the sport. Everything evolves. Everything evolves.
What's the solution, Norbs? I mean, you're there's a problem that you're discussing. So, what would be the answer, the solution?
I believe honestly they have to come up with some type of rules committee as well. Not only just for the rules to make the sport better, to also make it safer, to take care of these fighters. Right?
I know you're talking about the running, so we already talked. Yes,
honestly, I know. Isn't there a rule now that if they're not
only run 10 seconds, 30 seconds, a minute,
I think that has to be. Hold on, let me ask you a question. I think people that have been in the sport, like a Jamel, like a Iceman Scully, like a Robert Garcia, I think they need to form this committee and make it a realistic situation where these guys are fighting more. And if you're not fighting, you could be disqualified or losing points or something, because it's getting ridiculous to the point where people. I shut off my favorite fighter this weekend, Canelo. I said, fuck this. I'm leaving. This is bullshit.
There is a rule already that you have to be throwing punches. I mean, they'll say you're not throwing punches. You need to throw punches.
There has to be something instilled.
Jamel, Norbs has nominated you to be president of this committee. Are you accepting this challenge?
I would definitely.
No.
Why? I mean, it don't have to be Jamel.
It's a lot of these fighters. Everyone feels like they're their own boss. It's everyone's not willing to come to the table. Let's be real.
And that's
you gotta deal with individual personalities. I'm like, nobody has. That's a headache. That's a headache.
But you're talking about as of now, like even with Turkey's plans, they're not for today. They're for the future, because he knows eventually Canelo's going to leave. A lot of these guys that are power players are going to leave.
But that's what I'm saying. You got to start building these prospects that we see now into those stars. Because again,
but
we can't. For the longest time,
how do you build them if nobody sees them?
Yeah, but that's what you got to build them. That's where the promoters come in. You got to build them.
But the promoters need a stage. Listen, we lost Showtime. We lost HBO. We lost.
It doesn't have to just be a stage though. You got to put these guys out there to the masses. It doesn't have to be just your typical HBO. Yo, for one, they have a budget. There's a budget every year. They start putting some of this money into these fighters to get them out there to the public and the masses.
Terry, who does not like Devin? Who has said on here that they do not like Devin?
So, folks, about Devin, I like Devin, and I'm a big Bill Haney fan.
I feel sorry for him.
That's my guy.
The stuff that he's going through. What are you talking about?
Nobody dislikes Devin. We just dislike his dance moves in the ring. I'm sorry, I just don't like him.
No, that's my boy. That's my boy. I just know he's capable of more.
Oh, absolutely. We've seen Devin dominate with his jab.
Yeah.
No, honestly, I thought I was going to at least see some glimpses and flashes because the style wise, and there's no terms of difference in hand speed, but I thought I was going to see something like when he fought like Jorge Linares. You know, Jorge was going to come straight to you.
Yeah.
Even though Jorge's a lot faster and quicker than Jose and everything, but I was expecting like something like that, or the JoJo Diaz fight. You know, when JoJo kept pressing him, bringing the fight to him. I know Jose was going to press him, bring the fight to him, but at times, Devin had to sit there and go toe to toe and put them together. We didn't really get much of that. So that was that's my only knock with Devin. But other than that, what I'm saying? I want to see Devin do good.
I'm with you. As a matter of fact, we forgot to speak on Anyway last night. I'm sorry.
We were so tied up in all the foolery. That's what it was.
I'm still mad at you guys. I'm being over here attacked by these.
Hey, be mad at your fighter, your favorite fighter for putting you in that
I
mood.
represent my guy. I don't see nobody with a
Put you in that mood.
I don't see nobody.
We're just speaking. And the thing about it, if we're feeling like this, but let's be real. If all three of us are feeling like this, imagine the masses that had to watch it as well. So it's not a biased thing. Is that maybe I'm tripping. Then I started looking at everybody's views and points, and a lot of people were like, "Yo, I'm not." And then when Oscar, we didn't speak on that. When Oscar got there, that's rare for a promoter to be like, "Listen, I feel bad for Turkey because he put out all this money and we you know what I'm saying, we laid a dud."
No, it was atrocious to see that. But that's why I say there has to be some type of altering of fixing some of the stuff in boxing. And I think these things can be fixed, to be honest with you. But let's get to anyway. It can be fixed. Christine, I know you're old school, but at the end of the day, things evolve, rules change. It happens in every sport except for boxing. And that's why boxing is at the bottom when it comes to professional sports. It is. You know what I mean? It is. Top-ranked fighters put on last night. No, absolutely. Inoue got busy last night. He got knocked down. People were saying, "Is he chinny?" He got knocked down, came up and finished the fight. He was exciting. That's exactly what you want. You know what I mean?
Like, come on, the man's been knocked down before.
Yeah,
it's nothing new. It's nothing new. But again, I want to point out, a lot of people don't point this out. And again, shout out to Oscar De La Hoya. Oscar was ecstatic from Inoue's performance, and this is a rival promoter. But again, like you can say what you want about Oscar De La Hoya, but I really believe that he's for the sport of boxing. Like he wants to see the sport of boxing move forward and grow and become great. You know what I mean? So he didn't shade. You know what I'm saying? He didn't shade Inoue. He didn't shade the card. If anything, he kept it real with his own card. With his own fighters and how they perform. So that's just a lot about, because sometimes you get promoters and they'll start doing the whole political talk, and they give you the excuses and the reason why this happened and why this did. But Oscar just kept it real the whole weekend.
Yeah.
Can I please address this Monticello's comment about Inoue fought a Subway employee? He absolutely did not. I always tell people, do your research. Roman Cardenas has been around for a long time. He was a highly decorated amateur. I think he only has 2 losses out of like 26. He was definitely not a Subway employee. He was a worthy opponent. He gave Inoue a run for his money. He also had Joel Ortiz in his corner, who is very experienced boxer, right, taking people, to world championship status, including Timothy Bradley against Pacquiao. So I think it's so, and I know it's not the amateurs, it's the pros, but that background does count. Like I said, do your homework. So to call him a Subway employee is just disgusting. Somebody else said that Inoue was chinny. He's not chinny. He does have a bad habit. He got dropped before, dropping his lead hand sometimes. He got caught. Well, after that, he adjusted immediately.
No, absolutely. We've seen a lot of greats go down. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
We see a lot of my thing is we see a lot of punchers go down. You know why punchers go down? Because punchers, they know they have that punch, so they open up more. They open up, and when you open up more, you leave risks to get countered and hit more. So there's nothing like, one of my favorite fighters growing up, Diego Corrales. Diego Corrales was a puncher.
Yes.
Diego Corrales been put down because he's left himself open because sometimes he get caught up in his power.
Favorites, yes. He was always coming back, and that's the thing. It's funny, because Rocky, it's not how hard you get punched. It's about it's true though. Can you get up and finish the fight? He finished the fight amazing, and Roman was giving him the business. So shout out to both of them. It was
another thing. Like I think someone had pointed out that nowadays he finished the fight, but the thing is though, he got knocked down, but he didn't fight scary. Usually when a guy gets knocked down, and sometimes they'll be a little bit cautious, or they'll fight a little scary. In terms of Inoue, he didn't fight scary. He got back up and still kept coming forward.
He's only fought champions and moved up and wants to get better and better. So padded record, my ass. Look at who he's fought. Do your research again.
Listen, everybody always says that. Listen, the majority of people that we see go up there, I don't know what the fuck Williams' Skull was. I still don't know what the fuck Williams' Skull is, to be honest with you. So, you got to do your research, and calling boxers bums that are putting their lives on the line is absolutely absurd. It's crazy, But somebody said about Gabe. Did you guys see what Gabe Rosado said about the weekend?
Yes.
Gabe Rosado's awesome. I like him a lot. He's pretty funny.
He's cool.
He's funny. He had some stuff. You know what's another thing we forgot to touch on with the Ryan situation was everybody's talking about the PD. And they're just saying that's why he was different. Do you guys agree with that?
I don't.
I mean, like I said, I can't call it. I can't call it. But again, they definitely listen. Whoever was lying for Devin, when it happened, that it goes both ways. The Ryan fans was on Devin, calling him this and a quitter and whatever.
Yeah.
You gotta we just had an episode last week. You gotta be prepared for the criticism. You gotta have thick skin. This is what you sign up for. Because like I said, it may have played a part, may have not. But you definitely didn't look the same as you did last year.
Yeah.
So that's what they look at. They're gonna say you definitely didn't look the same as you did last year.
Monticello says you don't see the face of boxing calling them anyway out. Well, Bam is one of the guys.
Why not?
Bam wants to see
worth the money. Do you know how much money Japan brings to the table? Are you kidding me right now?
Yeah.
Are you kidding me right now?
There's a reason why even Norman's going over there.
Yeah.
No disrespect. Do your homework.
They going, they bring that money.
Let me ask you a question. Do we get the Bam fight? Do you think that actually happens? A lot of people keep saying Bam anyway. That Bam could go up.
That would be a smoke show.
I think like Christine just pointed out, Japan brings the bag, But I want to know what he mean by faces of boxers. Again, we had weight classes, and some of those guys.
I think he's talking about Tank. I think he's talking about Tank or something.
Too big. That's too big. But again, there's still a lot of names.
Too big.
He's really called out. Was it? The Nick Balls, the world, the featherweights, these guys are they're calling him out, so he's getting called out.
Yeah, I don't know who his face of boxing is, but
I mean the biggest name that people are talking about is Bam. That's what it's saying to fight him. But Bam is lighter. Will Bam go up? I think that's a mega fight. Like that
is a
right
mega fight.
It's crazy.
That's a mega fight.
And I gotta go with my Puerto Rican born Bam. And I mean that he's Puerto Rican, gotta stick by him. Christine, we already traded Edgar to you guys. You guys haven't.
No, we did not.
But I don't know. I mean, I don't know. The whole PED stuff, we're never going to get it answered. What else we got to look forward to?
Can I just say this? I saw a lot of comments too, where people were saying that's what Ryan gets, the drug cheat, this and that, and how can you
support but Devin, that's what he gets. He's a crybaby, so that's what I'm saying. It goes both ways.
Yeah, it goes both ways. But my point was this, people are so quick to throw rocks. It's like, how many of us have never screwed up? You know what I mean? And that's what we get. Thank God we don't always get what we deserve. But I just think that that's just nasty work. And the same thing with Haney. Yeah, exactly. That's what he gets. I mean, people are so quick. And then also the fans that are fans one day, and then the next day they just talk so much shit. It's so easy for them to flip without even considering what the boxer's going through.
Yeah.
It's just gross.
Well, I mean, I get it. And again, and just to end off like this, we all know mental health is real. Ryan definitely needs to get in there. Devin definitely needs to get in there. And I think that's the biggest thing of the weekend that nobody's talking about.
Yeah.
People are delusional. Like my man Cano talking about Devin was put on a master class. No, he was petrified and he didn't look comfortable. Ryan,
I don't agree with Cano.
Huh? No, I mean, I thought I was crazy. I had to call Jamal. I said, Jamal, am I high? I was literally in a tag team for 5 different people. Like, are you crazy? That was the game plan. I'm like, that was the game plan? I'm like, his shoes unbuckled by themselves. That's how fast he was moving.
Yeah.
Crazy. But, we got a lot to look forward to in boxing.
Yes, we do.
They did announce the and I love this picture right here. The Canelo Alvarez versus Mrs. Turkey Al-Sik. Bud Crawford. I don't know what the hell this is. Have you ever held hands with somebody? Bud, I love you, Bud.
But
what
Norm
the fuck
said
was
that. Jamel and I did not say that. He said it. Just saying.
No, I love Bud. I love you. No, I take back the miss. I take that back. But what the hell was this? Why is this man holding everybody's hand? He did that with Dana White. He did that with Oscar. Can anybody explain this?
Canelo.
No, he did not hold it. Canelo is not holding his hand. Canelo has never held his hand. He actually said something about that before. Jamal, you have nothing to say about this.
It could be tradition.
Have you ever?
It's a culture thing.
It's a culture thing.
It's accepted and even traditional for men hold hands as a sign of friendship, respect, and brotherhood.
I'm never going to hold your hand.
It is not seen as romantic or an unusual in that context.
There you go.
This gesture can sometimes be seen surprising to those from the Western cultures, but in places like Saudi Arabia, it is common and meaningful expression of camaraderie.
I'm telling you right there, I agree with everything you just said. I will never hold your hand, Jamal. We will never be.
They say Western world's different.
Yeah, we have to respect other cultures as we want them to respect ours. If that's what they do over there, we do as they do. It's just, it is what it is.
So Jamal, if you go to Saudi Arabia, will Turkey be able to hold your hand?
Man, listen, what's Turkey paying for starters?
I'm not gonna lie.
What I'm saying, what are you paying them guys? Hey, holding hands, kumbaya, whatever. It's just whatever. I know why I stand there. Like I know my sexual preference. Like I'm cool. Like
wait, Jamel, this is the guy that said he wants to hug Canelo. So
I do want to hug Canelo. I do want to hug Canelo. I'm not gonna lie. If I met Canelo, I'd give him a hug. I might cry. I'm not gonna lie. But I'm not holding his hand. That's really like
you're ready to holding hands walking down the block. Like, come on, man.
That's what it looks like. Look at this picture. He walked up in the ring holding hands. That's crazy.
Yeah, this is what we spoke about just now with fans and things of that nature. Like people on social media, y'all get on social media and talk crazy about everything.
That's right.
But we love it. We all fall into it at times. We all fall into it. Like, what was the one tweet that they people started pop? Social media is crazy.
Canelo came out and said, "I will not hold his hand. I don't care."
What's the other tweet that's floating around? I think what Ryan said. If I lose to Rolly Romero, I'll go to jail. I'll stay in prison with Diddy or something like that.
That is hilarious.
It's crazy, yo.
Hilarious, man. I'm not gonna lie. $50 million, I'd hold his hand. I'm not gonna lie. But I'm with you.
And then what? And then you going back home to your wife.
Yeah, but you would hug Canelo for free. And crying is.
I would take a plane right now to Saudi Arabia to hug Canelo. I love Canelo. I represent Team Canelo all day long. Like Canelo.
All right, I'm saying that. Hey, you might. Hey, don't. I want to see you. If it happens, I want to see you in the ring. Like remember when Apollo was holding Rocky after Ivan Drago got to his ass?
First of all, Canelo has never been mistaken for Kendrick Lamar. We're gonna continue to insult this man. Okay?
No, I'm about to
Hey, we need to make that T-shirt. I need to make those T-shirts when Bud wins. I want to make the T-shirt of Norb's holding Canelo in the middle of the ring. Like,
Bud is not gonna win. Bud is not gonna win. Kendrick Lamar is not gonna win. Okay. Canelo has never been mistaken for Kendrick Lamar.
I'm about to log off.
Christine, these are facts we're putting out here. Okay. These are facts.
But I don't know. I'm looking at the level of opposition he selected. Remember he's been selecting for the past three years.
Are we gonna go
yeah, look at these things though, bro. Like what's preparing him for? It's not like we know Canelo is skillful and he has the talent, but again, sometimes you gotta still match up with the right competition to keep him sharp.
That part.
He hasn't been in the ring with a fight where I'm like, damn, this is a close ass Canelo fight.
Caleb Plant wasn't a good fighter.
No, he's a great fighter. Canelo's a great fighter, but he hasn't been in it with levels to keep him sharp though.
But not saying Caleb Plant wasn't a great fighter.
Caleb, but again.
But did he keep Canelo sharp? No, that's what he's saying. The level.
So Imagine kept Bud sharp
for the next level.
Your man is taking off almost a year.
If you keep fighting can after can, eventually,
Did you just say what I just heard? I gotta put this picture. Every time you insult Canelo, I'm putting this picture.
So I'm just saying. So okay, his last few fights has he been in there with guys that be like, damn, it's gonna be a real good one or keep him sharp.
Has Bud been?
He was just in there with somebody that was keeping him sharp.
Imagine
His last two fights.
The same guy that Virgil disposed of him, which Bud couldn't do.
How what? You act like that fight was one-sided also?
He stopped him. Why did Bud stop him? We want to stay sharp. This man is still holding hands.
Why didn't Canelo stop his guy? Sometimes you stop him, sometimes you don't. You can have excuses of why nobody stopped somebody, but
these guys are
Ashley, love you, Ashley. We love that too. Hey, I'm not against anyone with Team Canelo. Like Canelo had I respect it. We respect it over here. I'm just saying though.
Pick a side, yeah.
Like I said, hey, real not real since day one. Yeah. I respect it. We have, you know what I'm saying? You can respectfully say that. I'm just saying though, like in terms of staying sharp, Canelo hasn't there hasn't been nobody in there really to really push him. That's why I'm just nobody in there to push him.
Look at my guy, Base the Kid. Virgil didn't disclose.
I'm sorry, he destroyed him. Yeah, but he destroyed him. Maginov, some people actually thought Maginov won the fight.
In the beginning, Virgil Mark in the beginning, you know what I'm saying? It was typical Maginov in the beginning, like the first 4 or 5 rounds.
I'm sorry. I'm still bugging out about this picture of him holding hands. I'm sorry.
Actually, I agree with you, Ashley. Like I said, that's what I was saying in the beginning of the show. Like, the only thing I hate with the situation is that it's the layoff. It's the layoffs and the ring rust. That's the only thing I hate with boxing. Is too many these big gaps of layoffs. So I respect that.
So I got one more question. Since after Canelo puts him to sleep,
all right,
are you guys going to be upset?
No,
I'm going to celebrate.
I don't see him put the sleep.
You're going to celebrate? Why would you celebrate?
We're going to celebrate because Bud is going to win, and trust me, we are going to troll you. Jamel and I are going to troll you.
Hey, that's the problem. Hey, I'm about to go dig up my Ashley for you too. I'm gonna have to go dig up my I got it when he fought on Billy Joe. I was in there. I was in Dallas for that fight. I was there as a Canelo fan support. I might have to bring out my headband for my bro. You know what I'm saying? My Canelo when it happens, I'm like, listen, I know.
That day I'm going Canelo.
It just wasn't his night.
I'm gonna have Team Canelo hat. I'm gonna have a Team Canelo shirt.
I think you
should.
All
out.
And HL, there's nothing. I'm glad you brought that up too, because Canelo can't complain about the mover when he's been in there with guys like Laura. He's been in there with the Cuban star, so I didn't want to hear that either.
Oh, Laura fought. This is a difference.
He's been there with Laura. He was
a hell of a fighter. Christine don't believe it. Christine's such a hater. I'm getting tired of her.
I'm not a hater. I just see something.
You saw something in Barbosa too, okay?
Yeah, I did. And I was wrong, and I'll admit it, but I won't be wrong this time.
So, Christine, after Canelo wins, will you wear a Canelo is God t-shirt, like Canelo is the man t-shirt?
I will not even utter those words out of my mouth because it's not going to happen.
Wow. I'm disappointed in you guys. But anyways, there's a lot of people in here. Jesus Christ. I appreciate everybody for tuning in. I apologize for these delusional Bud Crawford fans.
That always call for what it is, man.
Yeah, man. But whatever drugs that Bill Haney was on might have gotten onto the show for his weird comments this weekend. But I definitely appreciate you guys. Wednesday, we're supposed to have Lou DeBella on. Can I count on you guys to be on there?
Oh, my man Lou. Yeah, I'll be for my man Lou.
We gotta have Lou on. We gotta have Lou on, but yeah, on that note, I gotta let you guys go.
I gotta get to the gym. Hakan, yes, he did save Cinco de Mayo. Thank you. Y'all have a good night, guys. Good day. Good day.
Yes.
Good day.
Out of here, guys. Appreciate you.
He did save the weekend. He saved it.
Team Canelo, over and out. We're out of here, Jamal. I'm getting you a Canelo t-shirt too. We're out.